What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Join Dota League Season 3. Yes, Season 3. This is going to be the last game of, or the last match, let's say, of the American division of jDL3, and it's going to be a best of 3. So we got Not Today on the Radiant, Union Gaming on the Dire. Here on HeflaTV 2, I'm going to be one of your casters. I'm Mike Loris. I also have Grandis V on the line.
Yeah, to start out this draft, Union Gaming go ahead and ban out the Mirana and the Razor. Faces Void and Scarth with the bans from Not Today, leaving the Terrorblade first pick in the pool for Union Gaming. Not Today are currently fairly favored in this match, but I'm not sure if they should be favored as much as they are. Union Gaming, on a good day, definitely can pull off a win up against Not Today, but the last 5 matches have gone into Not's favor.
Yeah, I think just me personally looking at these two teams, I would say Union Gaming most of the times would lose, so I'm going to say 2-1 Not Today, as they generally are a little bit more of a consistent team. They play super aggressively and they get things done. Normally they would pick up a Centaur first, but instead they're going to go for a Tidehunter. Union Gaming, they snap pick the Terrorblade, so they're going to have a little bit of late game power for sure. But at the same time, it is a hero that's extremely punishable, especially the more aggressive you are, the easier it is to punish that Terrorblade.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, or know why Not Today decide to go for the Tidehunter over the Centaur. I think that the Centaur is overall just, I don't know, kind of a little bit better, especially up against the Terrorblade offering that single target burst damage. In the team fights, it's going to be really nice, especially if you can get that Anchor Smash off on the Terrorblade. Reducing his base damage is a great way to deal with him, but that's fairly unlikely. Ogre Magi, the next picker from Not Today, is support that's really come into the limelight after several months of complete obscurity. Ogre Magi now is going to be picked up by Not Today, a wonderfully aggressive support, and pretty much any carry loves to have Bloodlust on them.
Yeah, and right now, Not Today, not going to get that carry currently. It also makes kind of more fringe carries a little bit better. Like if you slap a Bloodlust on a Mirana, currently banned out, so that's not going to happen. But just for an example, she normally doesn't hit that hard, but when you give anyone that steroid, they're going to be pretty devastating. Hell, even if you give it to more of your supporty, kind of lighter damaging heroes, like a Tidehunter, suddenly they're a big threat as well. So Ogre Magi definitely going to share the love, and of course, you can never not mention the multicast potential. When you're going up against Terrorblade, you need magic damage, and Ogre Magi sometimes has a lot of magic damage, depending on how skillful Not Today are feeling today.
Yeah, even without the multicast, especially if you have an Aghanim Scepter, they do hurt quite a bit, even if you don't get them. And with a 40% chance, you can almost count on having a multicast once you have level 11. Right now for Union Gaming, they're eating through quite a large chunk of the reserve time thinking about this next hero. Right now, if they're looking towards the sport, Scarth Mage is still available in the
No,
pool.
it's
If they
banned.
want to go further into the push, oh, that's right, it was banned in the first stage. So Death Prophet is going to be Union Gaming's choice. Definitely a solid hero, and I thought Death Prophet was banned instead of the Scarth Mage. Sorry.
It's usually just like an assumption that Death Prophet is banned at this point. You don't even look. It's just like, oh yeah, you're not going to pick up Death Prophet because you can't. But Union Gaming, they are going to pick up the Death Prophet because they can, and that's actually quite a lot of pushing potential on their team. Terrorblade later on will be able to tear through towers, mostly through split pushing, and Death Prophet more of a straight pusher. But either way, towers should be falling for Not Today, who currently have 2 melee heroes, so they're not actually the best at dealing with this kind of long-range pushing until mostly the Tidehunter gets the Blink Dagger. Once that happens, then they'll be able to start fights. But Union Gaming, they need their supports. Ancient Apparition going to be a ban out. I expect to see something along the lines of a Sand King and or Jakiro from Union, punishing the Not Today very melee-heavy lineup.
Yeah, definitely. Right now we're going to see Ancient Apparition and Witch Doctor banned out by Not Today, and Templar Assassin Ember Spirit being banned out by Union Gaming. Some fairly interesting bans coming out from both of these teams. Ancient Apparition and Witch Doctor, although they're nice supports, I'm not sure if that's exactly what Union Gaming would have in mind. If they had a Void on their team, maybe that's a completely different story, but I think the likes of the Earthshaker and Sand King are a little bit scarier.
Yeah, I could kind of understand the Witch Doctor. You could play that super defensively, keep your guys healed up, and then make kind of you play around that. But the Ancient Apparition, I think, is not really that much of that. No, not today. They're gonna go pretty deep pretty early. Leshrac Ogre Magi, it's not the most common of combos, but it's a real combo. Like Fire Blast into Split Earth, that's a nice chain stun. And again, when you're dealing with Terrorblade, the more burst damage, the better. Lightning Storm and Split Earth are pretty good against the hero. Plus, it's just a range hero for Not Today. So, do you think it's going to be core or support?
I'm kind of hoping for a core Leshrac, potentially an aggressive trialing coming out from Not Today. Although they could pull off a supportless Shrek, if you're running as a support, you still need to transition and get those items up, or else the hero just kind of falls flat on its face. It needs to be able to survive in the front lines, as well as have a decent amount of mana sustain in order to actually have an impact in the team fights. So I'd like to see him give this Leshrac a little bit more priority when it comes to farming in the early game.
Yeah, I think so too. If nothing else, just because it's always a supportless track, and I feel like cordless track is just so fringe. But also, if you just find that sweet spot, you could do so well with it. Bloodlust, of course, is not going to be extremely relevant. Movement speed is always nice, but really, Leshrac isn't the core you want. So off of that, I'm inclined to think it is going to be played as support, which is perfectly fine. Like, you could set things up with these two heroes pretty much no matter what lane you're going into, or no matter what your allies are in that lane, just because the two are just so self-sufficient. They have such high damage. Leshrac is not exactly the tankiest hero in the world, but when you have Ogre Magi in front of you, you're most of the time going to be okay. And then Union Gaming, they are going to go for a Shaker, so can't really go wrong with this support hero, as it's going to give them, at the very least, a stun. And right now, that's kind of what they're lacking.
Definitely, and in the duration of one stun on Leshrac, especially if it gets caught out by a Terrorblade with a couple levels in Metamorphosis, is probably going to be a dead Leshrac, as that hero is just innately very squishy. Also, the Earthshaker, it's pretty nice defensively, but there's still the option that Union Gaming could make some sort of roaming duel. Mirana is banned out, and the heroes that you'd like to have roaming with the Earthshaker aren't really all there. Rubik or Vengeful Spirit are still available, and if they do want to go for a more aggressive route, that could be their choice.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the Rubik right now. It doesn't have the best skills to steal. Like, Ogre, Leshrac stealing is not that good. Tidehunter, obviously you want to steal the Ravage, but sometimes that's just not possible if you don't have perfect positioning or perfect timing. You're just going to get interrupted. But that being said, it's still a nice defensive support to partner up with the Terrorblade. And, Earthshaker, Rubik, those two with the stuns that they have should be enough to keep the Terrorblade more or less safe, assuming not today don't go just all out ham on the aggression, which is still possible, but as long as they pick up supports that could hold Terrorblade's hand, then they should be more or less fine. And hell, even when they want to start fights, they have Telekinesis, they have Fissure. That sets up for some pretty easy blocking, and Terrorblade really likes it when people are stunned. You can just wail on them with the Metamorph, but not today. They are going to go for Phantom Assassin. It could still be a late game play for not today, but I think they're going to play in such a way to try to punish a Terrorblade, though Phantom Assassin, not really the hero you want.
It is going to be a different defensive support in the Dazzle, going to be shying away from the Rubik here. Dazzle is a very interesting support alone. He's not very good aggressively. With another stun from the Earthshaker, it can work out, and they can do things as far as roaming is concerned, but more than likely, these two are just going to be babysitting the Terrorblade all day, every day. The Phantom Assassin pick for not today, I quite like it, especially with the Ogre Magi. If he gets an early point or two up into the Bloodlust, is going to be able to do a lot of work with or without items. BKB is going to be nice for the Phantom Assassin, but it's not going to be a necessity. The Earthshaker Fissures are going to disjoint things from the PA, but as long as she has the levels to back it up, I think she's going to be completely fine. And as long as the Phantom Assassin play is on point, I like this pick. And it also does give them something to fall back on late game if they really need to. But I would like to see an aggressive style of play coming out from Not Today.
I think I see a mag in Not Today's future. Between Bloodlust and Empower, your Phantom Assassin is going to be trucking people. And I said it's not the best because Phantom Assassin in just a duel versus Terrorblade, you get the high armor of Terrorblade blocking most of the PA's damage. But hell, when you have so many buffs on you, when you have your teammates behind you as well, then suddenly things become a lot more viable. And wait, look at that, it is going to be a Magnus, so they're just going to dump all of their skills in the Phantom Assassin and then let that hero go ham. Again, with Sunder on the field and with Dazzle's array of survivability skills, Phantom Assassin is not going to be able to just cleave through the entirety of Union Gaming, but she's still certainly going to be a very potent threat.
Definitely, especially if Union Gaming aren't able to break up this combo coming up from Not Today. If you catch people inside the RP, follow up with the Ravage, and then Split Earth, or any combination of those three spells, you can keep an entire team stun locked for a very long duration. With the Phantom Assassin getting the cleave from the Magnus, with or without Battle Fury, you're going to be able to cleave through pretty much everybody. So even though Not Today don't have the greatest late game as far as just looking at the Phantom Assassin Terrorblade in a vacuum, with that initiation power of the Tidehunter as well as the Magnus, you really can't ever count them out. Elder Titan, the last pickup for Union Gaming, is going to make that Terrorblade as well as Death Prophet hit incredibly hard. It's fairly likely that we're going to see a lot of armor items coming up from Not Today. Assault Kurat, Shivas, and Vladimir should all be on their bucket list.
Yeah, so Union Gaming, rather, with this final pickup of the Terrorblade, as you said, physical damage is going to be extremely potent. Technically, their magic damage will be as well, but they don't really have that much of it. Union Gaming kind of working with a minor minus armor sub theme. If you use Weave offensively, not exactly what you want to do all the time, but together with the natural order, you could just tear through Not Today, as they are sometimes very tanky, but other times when they have no armor and negative armor and stuff like that, it's not going to be fun times. It looks like we might be having a little bit of a remake.
Oh, yeah.
At least we know why this time it's being paused.
They all have over 300 ping. And
Hey, if
some
they
of
all
them have
over
like
300 ping,
500.
then that's equality. We could run with it.
No. Like everybody on Not. Union Gaming don't. Like one of their players is like 500 and everybody else is like 330 plus. It's not pretty.
All right, so it is going to most likely be remade onto US East, guys, so sorry for this, but nothing we could do about this. Elder Titan, though, it's not really going to be the best hero at interrupting Not Today's huge wombo combo and, you know, RPing them and then just cleaving through them, but it's a hero that if he does get a little bit going, then he could actually be a little bit aggressive, mostly with the Death Prophet. If they start early game fights, large scale fights, which are sometimes hard to start, but if that does happen, then I could very easily see UG taking those early game fights if it's a 3v3 or a 4v4.
It looks like both teams are actually having a decent amount of lag. It didn't look like Union Gaming's was as bad, but let me check it again. Oh dear. Yeah, everybody has at least 200. Like it's not great for anybody.
All right, so let's get out of this game.
But again,
they should bring it back. They should definitely bring it back. Like I can understand not wanting to hand out def wins, but hey, just hit their reserve time, hit their draft. That's where it hurts.
Well, that said, in the game we're going to go on the Radiant side is going to be Not Today. On the backlines of the 5-man rotation up towards top, we're going to have an Ogre played by Mystico, and the Phantom Assassin handled by Iwo. Mihawk on the Tidehunter mid. Magnus is going to be played by Smash, and Misoku will play on the presumably supportless track.
Yeah, and they're currently all heading up towards top, where Benyaz on the Terrorblade is already heading. He does have Jericho, Earthshaker to be supporting him, as well as Zinder on the Dazzle. 1108, it's Cyberlin who's going to be playing the mid lane Death Prophet, and that leaves Angel down towards the bottom lane solo Elder Titan. This is a pretty aggressive rotation from Not Today, and really they can get away with this. Stifling Dagger into Fire Blast is very easy to land, assuming they actually find someone, or you could just block off some of these camps and just go about that way. And they do have a couple sentries. Don't really know if they're going to be planning on blocking any more camps or if they're just going to try to maintain the vision over here, but I don't know if these entries are actually going to get much value right now.
Looks like they are going to do so, just drop their 2 observers. The rest of lanes aren't going to suffer because of this rotation, as the Magnus and Tidehunter fairly early onto that decide to just go back towards their lanes and look for the block. Bottom lane is going to be Tidehunter solo 1v1 versus the Elder Titan, which should be a fairly good matchup for the Tidehunter, although the spam of the Astral Spirit should mean that Elder Titan gets a little bit out of this lane and at least shouldn't be zoned out of experience range. Mid Magnus is not going to be favored. The early rune's going to come out on top, but it doesn't look like it's anything super impactful.
Yeah, the Tide versus Elder Titan matchup is perfectly predicted by both sides. I mean, you don't pick an Elder Titan if you don't know that the Elder Titan matchup is going to be Tidehunter. You're fully aware of this and you're prepared for it. And the Spirit is not going to be doing that much because the Tidehunter has come prepared. He has a ton of tangos, and if he gets into a fist fight with Angel, Angel is never going to win that. So I expect Tidehunter to have an advantage over on bottom, kind of made up for by the weaker lane of Mag mid, but he does have a bottle coming out to him right away, so relatively fast bottle, as he did go for just a bare bone start, 2 tangos and 2 branches, and those tangos were just pulled to him. And then of course on the top lane, we're going to have most of the action, where the Earthshaker Dazzle are most likely not going to be able to start anything. It's going to be Not Today starting every single fight, and then UG playing kind of reactively. It's never how you want to play your lane, but when you pick up a Dazzle and a Terrorblade, you don't really have much of a choice.
Benyaz has already used his Metamorphosis, and that's going to be on cooldown for quite a large time. He's not going to have that available and only gets 2 creeps out of it, which is fairly unfortunate for them. He does get the 3rd creep, but after Metamorphosis wears off, he's going to have a pretty hard time in this lane. And so he'll have to come up to the creep wave in order to get CS, and then he's opening himself up to Fire Blast into Split Earth with Stifling Daggers to chase him down. Especially once we get like level 2 on both of these supports, the damage coming out from Not Today's tri-lane is going to be pretty ridiculous. And even if they don't get kills, it's stopping Benyaz from farming comfortably, which I'm going to say is a win for Not Today.
Man, I love Misoku and Misko's minor movement in order to block out the Dire's attempts at a pull. So that's not going to be happening over in the mid lane. Now they're going to open up onto Benyaz. They're going to get fissured. I think they're actually okay with that happening, unless Misoku gets walled off on the wrong side, and he is not, actually. He's just poking around at Zinder just a little bit. Stifling Daggers flying here and there. Misko actually has another Fire Blast that he can use. It's not the proper time for Not Today to go in, however. There's no level 2 on Masoku, and that means he only has one skill, and that one skill is Lightning Storm. And as nice as that slow is, you really want to have Split Earth to follow up with the Firebolt. So it is going to be, once again, Masoku put into a corner, but he's perfectly safe right now. Even though he only has 2 melee heroes to support him, he's going to be just fine. So level 2 is really when Not Today are going to hit their stride, I predict.
And here's your level 2 on all of their heroes. We now have the Fire Blast as well as the Ignite from the Ogre Magi, Split Earth as well as the Lightning Storm. If Leshrac decides to level it up, I don't think it's worth putting that 1 point into Diabolic Edict. I'm not exactly sure why he's skipping it for now. But I expect that'll come out eventually. Fire Blast lands on Benyaz as well as the Ignite. They'll Stifling Dagger him up. Blink Strike hasn't come out from the PA yet, and with the Reflection slow going the way of the Ogre Magi, they're not going to be able to get this kill on the Terrorblade, but they've eaten through the majority of his regen. There's still a salve on the Dazzle, but outside of that, Terrorblade has 1 Tango left.
So Masoku actually, yeah, he just went for the Edict, and I think this is actually a pretty big mistake. Even though they are putting a lot of damage into the Terrorblade with their combo, they could be killing him with their combo instead, and I don't know, I'd rather kill the hero. The Edict is good against towers, but versus Terrorblade, like, this is the worst hero you want to Edict just because he has so much armor, and I don't know if the physical composite change actually matters in this case, but Diabolic Edict right now is purely physical. And that is something that Terrorblade is going to shrug off pretty easily, as opposed to the follow-up stun. I don't know, I generally like it when Leshracs go for Edicts, because it means that they can play aggressively and push. But I don't think this is one of those lanes. This is a kill lane, not a push lane.
Yeah, I'm okay with him going for Edict, just not at level 2. I assume his level 3 point will be put into that stun. I think it's just such a value point. The stun duration doesn't scale, and the damage starts out really well. The biggest reason you'd level it up is for the radius increase, but honestly, I think just the 1 value point's enough. Then you can back off for Edict as well as the Lightning Storm, if you choose to do so. But yeah, for now, I don't even think this Diabolic Edict is going to be used until he gets level 3, and in that sense, I think it's a wasted skill point. But no, he's going to back off for Lightning Storm, completely ignoring the stun up until now.
I think Split Earth is pretty good. I don't know what your opinion is on it, but I'm quite a fan of Split Earth, so I think it's worth leveling. But even if the top lane on Not Today doesn't actually get any kills, they're still making Benyaz really struggle in this lane. He has 10 CS, which is okay, I suppose, given the circumstances, but Evo has 25, and that's actually really nice for Not Today, because that means that they don't actually have to go for kills. They just have to stay the course and prevent the enemies from farming. They are putting a lot of damage onto Zinder, actually. Those are the Hell Bears, but if you take a look at the other lanes, Not Today, they're winning them very handily. Angel's taking quite a beating from Mihawk, kind of as to be expected, and mid lane Smash is actually beating the Death Prophet, albeit very narrowly. It's still a win. They're going to go for Zinder up on top, but the Fissure's going to wall off Ewo from the rest of his supports. Still, he's going to put a lot of damage onto this Dazzle. With no boots, I don't think he can get this, but he's sure as hell going to try. One more hit is going to make it so that he's forced into Shallow Grave. They need Ignite. Oh, Misko can't get the range, I think. An Ignite probably would have killed the Dazzle, but he doesn't use it for whatever reason, and that's going to mean First Blood is still not claimed by anyone.
Yeah, unfortunately for them, but it is a Dazzle that has a second point to Shallow Grave. It's going to be a very defensive lane either way, but still, it's going to be on cooldown for a decent amount of time, and if they go for another kill in about 30 seconds, it won't be stopped by that. The Fissure goes on, lands on the 2, Masoku as well as Ewo. The Fire Blast is not going to throw out, but the Ignite's going to slow down the Earthshaker. Benyaz is taking a decent amount of damage, but right now they can't go for anybody until Jericho is getting burst down by the Fire Blast as well as Lightning Storm. They need one more auto attack or a Stifling Dagger, anything, and they just can't find it. Instead, they go for Zender and get the First Blood that way. The Earthshaker survives with very little HP, but it's still gold going into Not Today's pockets, and potentially better for them as they end up giving that extra gold to the Phantom Assassin.
Yeah, and did you see how useful Edict was there? It did literally nothing. I'm so glad he's going for these 2 skill points in a skill that is not helping him kill things. I guess it's fine since they got kills anyway, but man, Split Earth would have been so nice there just because he had so much time to set up on the Shaker, and it would have been, at the very least, I think, 2 kills. Maybe even they would have gotten Benyaz if they were throwing the Split Earths around earlier, but who knows? Maybe they are planning on going for this tower aggressively anyway. I mean, they have Ring of Aquila on Phantom Assassin, so they, in theory, can go for it if they really wanted to.
I'd like to see them just turn on the Aquila and put as much damage as possible into the tower. If you don't do that, you're kind of wasting the skill point. Masoka can't do that comfortably now, but maybe if they get a larger creep wave, or maybe if they can align this with a catapult wave coming in a couple of minutes, or just a minute or so. Right now, it actually is very surprising that the Magnus is doing as well as he is. With the very early battle, he's been able to maintain rune control at least every couple of minutes and is able to shockwave spam to victory in this lane, which is pretty much the same thing the Death Prophet is doing, but her range advantage really isn't showing in this lane, which is fairly surprising to me. So Magnus, his Blink Dagger is not going to be fastest since he backs off for the bottle as well as the wand and treads, but it's still going to be a really good time. And once we have that Blink, I expect some rotations. Mihawk also goes for the bottle. We're going to have 2 bottles running for Not, and he also has this level 6, so TP Ravage support is there. If anybody decides to dive on tower up and top, the Stifling Dagger lands on his Ender, as does the Ignite, but they don't have any follow-up as Misoku's way too far away.
Yeah, Misko does have a magic stick, so he's kind of okay with spending skills like this. I mean, he's forcing out regeneration from the Dazzle, and they're just trading mana pretty much, so it's nothing too much gain, nothing too much lost over on top. But I think Smash in the mid lane, even though he can, in theory, make rotations, he's getting so much out of this lane, and he actually has kill potential right now in the Death Prophet. He has level 3 Skewer and an RP. If he lands that RP on Death Prophet and then skewers her into the tower, I could see the Death Prophet going down solo to the mag, and that is just the worst case scenario.
Yeah. Mihawk is currently fighting up against the Elder Titan. Elder Titan's going all the way back to base, although I'm not sure if he needs to. The Tidehunter's completely out of mana. Maybe just respecting that he could just get a rune and then get that mana for the Ravage and potentially turn around and kill, but I think that's a little bit of wasted time by Angel. Nonetheless, he is going to make it back to base, and 1,300 gold in the Elder Titan. He's not slouching in the farming department either. Both of the solo lanes are fairly disinteresting as Iwo is diving the tower onto Zender. He does get the Grave off. The Fire Blast doesn't come out, and the Ignite is on cooldown still. They do get the slow, and now the Fire Blast comes out. They'll be able to bring down the Dazzle, but Iwo's now in a very compromising position behind the tower. Slowed down by the Reflection. They're looking for just a little bit more damage. No mana on the Earthshaker, but the right clicks. Will they come through on Iwo? Is juking through the woods. With that Phase Boots movement speed, it might be enough to keep him safe, at least for now, but he's running to the wrong end. And with the stick charges on the Earthshaker, he's able to get off the fissure. I like the choice of this Earthshaker to get a magic stick with that 200 gold that he's been sitting on, and that's why if you only have the mana pool that you're running with, you have exactly 1 fissure, and with that magic wand you'll be able to secure a couple of kills, and it's going to be a very important one for you in game. Despite spending a lot of heroes in mid, we are going to have a stomp that misses Smash, and now RPs onto Angel, screws him back under tower. They do have a Stifling Dagger as well as the Blink Strike from Phantom Assassin, and that's going to scare the end of the Elder Titan's life. And now Zender in a bit of a pickle. Iwo's going to drop a Stifling Dagger into him, smash with enough mana for the Shockwave and a crit landing. It is going to be a secured kill onto Dazzle. It's not today find a big win in mid.
Oh, are they going to go for more? They're at the very least going to force out this ultimate of the Death Prophet, then back off successfully. Misoku has an Edict. This is the Edict's time to shine. Or not. Throw out some lightning and then just be fine with that. Smash still taking some damage from these spirits. He's got to make sure he doesn't carelessly die right now, but they're putting a lot of damage onto this Death Prophet just with lightning spam and dagger spam. Are they going to go for it? Phantom Assassin's going to stick up, and they should go for it right now. Blink forward. No crits. None needed. Elder Titan a little bit late to save the Death Prophet, but she just got way too overconfident, did not respect the damage of Lightning Storm, nor did she respect the damage of Stifling Dagger. That really does add up, and Union Gaming find themselves at a very early 4-kill disadvantage in this game, and they are facing down even, let's say, late game, so it's not even like they could afford to be making these trades. The Blink Dagger is going to be soon to be up on Mag, and, well, that's going to help them play that more aggressively. The Tidehunter doesn't have his Blink Dagger in quite a long time, but he does have a Ravage, and we haven't yet seen one of those being casted.
And Iwo is going for a very mid-game centric build with the phase drums, I assume, is going to be his next item, and the Aquila. Maybe he backs off for something different. Right now, just ferrying some tangos as well as a salve out to his person.
Yeah, and Iwo, when he was running around on the top lane, like after he got the kill on Dazzle and he was running away, he was a little bit late on his phase boots. Like, generally when you're running away like that, you're going to be mashing that button as much as you can, but he had it on available to him for a little bit, and I think he could have actually denied himself to the medium camp if he was completely on point with that, but that was quite a long time ago, and his death ultimately not the greatest, but he turned it around over in the mid lane, so everything is forgiven. Jericho up on top lane is being pinged out. Not today. They don't have any wards spotting the tower, but they definitely know that someone's here. They don't have any split earth or anything to check. Oh, there we go. Jericho's now stuck in a corner with the Tidehunter. This is not a place where anyone wants to be, really. He's going to go down so very easily.
Yep, it's also going to be a Soul Ring build by the Earthshaker. He picks it up before he dies. It's pretty much going to give the Earthshaker as much mana as he could want, so he's not going to be losing much gold. But then again, it's still a fairly easy kill for Not Today. They smoked up both of their supports, and they're going to be able to find it. And hey, we do have the Edict, doing some decent damage to that tier 1 tower. This is the power of the Edict build, and with 3 points up into it, the Diabolic Edict munches through those tier 1 towers if you're able to find the angle, and it almost drops the one up top down.
Yeah, Edict maybe is going to get this tower, but I don't know. That was not that much damage on the tower, given that he chose this skill over something that would have gotten him 1, maybe even 2 2 kills previously, so far, Edict build not working out for Masoku, but maybe it'll happen later on. I mean, having the 4 levels is going to be very useful if you do end up taking a fantastic team fight with your Leshrac being alive. Suddenly, 4 kill is going to turn into a 4 kill plus a tower, and that's just golden. Smash is going to run straight into Citadel, and he's going to get eaten by the Exorcism. This is going to be his death. He does have Mihawk right behind him with the Ravage, but I don't think they want to commit to this. Misko in the area, but really they need someone else here to do the damage. Would have been the Mag, would have been the PA. Both of those heroes not really not close by, and one's dead, so it's going to be a free kill for Union Gaming, putting a little bit of damage onto the mid lane tower, but this is something that Not Today can defend with the Ravage. They don't even need a Blink Dagger, honestly. If they clip the Death Prophet with it, that might be her death if someone else comes in, but currently we don't see that rotation.
Yeah, Earthshaker is going to sell the Soul Ring after he buys it and backs off for the Arcane Boots, so opting more for the sustain for his team instead. It is going to be pushing mid with the Metamorphosis, as well as some Illusions online for the Terrorblade. It's only 2 points up in the Metamorph for the TB, going for a more farm-heavy build, but it's still going to be enough to get this Tier 1 tower. It's Not Today, just don't have the heroes in the right positions in order to contest it. They'll instead go for a Tier 1 tower down in bottom. With the Edict, it's a fairly easy push for them.
Yeah, they're going to make sure to dodge a stomp and then claim the tower. In the meantime, Terrorblade died
Skewer.
to a Ravage. Okay, so then
Yeah.
Mihawk is going to be a little bit too overzealous. He's going to survive due to bottle charges. Barely getting out of their life, but they kill off the Terrorblade. They end up losing the tower, which is a little bit unfortunate. It looks like Terrorblade traded his life for it, but it's a kill on the Terrorblade and a tower in exchange for just a tower, and Not Today. Use a Ravage for the first time. Not the most glorious usage, killing off only 1 hero, but hey, as long as you get closer to that Blink, you're going to be happy with the fact that you got a kill.
It was actually a Blink Ravage, or Blink RP Skewer into Ravage. They committed everything for that TB, but they got it. So, I don't know, it's not as clean-cut a win for Not Today as it could have been. If they only used one of those spells, I think it's just a straight-up win, but since they used 2, their team fighting power is going to be neutered, at least for a little bit. Smash is not going to be blocked off by that Fissure. We'll be able to throw out a Shockwave of his own. Up in top, we might have a little bit of action as the Ogre is around here, as is the Tidehunter, but it's more or less just a complete standoff. Right now, Not Today have broken up their lanes, and now the Phantom Assassin as well as the Leshrac are down in bottom. Magnus is still chilling mid, and they're just looking to get as much farm as they can out of this map.
Yeah, though I do love Misko's leveling, like his skill build, because this is the one I always go for. I don't know if this is correct in this game. Do you think going for Bloodlust is going to be preferable? Do you think this is one of those games?
Where did the Radiance Courier die? Before we talk about it, it died here. How?
I have no clue. There's no one here.
Yeah, I assume that was a Death Prophet that gets an auto attack after looking for the 14-minute rune. That's a very weird spot for the Courier to be flying to. The Phantom Assassin just wasn't paying attention. It's going for a Battle Fury build, but I think that's a micro mistake from Ewo, or maybe whoever's controlling the Courier for him.
Yeah, it's only Perseverance, but yeah, I mean, the Battle Fury is always going to be nice. Could be, I feel like if you're going to go for a Battle Fury, you should be getting Bloodlust as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. About the build choice for the Ogre, I think Bloodlust just gets really good. And at this point, I don't think you invest any more into Ignite. I think 2 points is enough. The Fire Blast has a really fancy multicast, which is nice. If you want more sustained damage, you go for Ignite. But I still think that Bloodlust should have been higher on his priority list this game. He's not going to be getting that many levels on the Ogre unless they take a lot of fights, which might happen. But I think it's kind of risky to go for this aggressive build if you're not going to be playing aggressively. 0-0 and 3 on Mystico. It's not a bad KDA by any means, but it's not great either, and it's not going to level up your Ogre. However, with the smoke, Blink Skewer into Angel to be able to Fire Blast, and there's your multicast, and it's going to be a very straightforward kill. Shockwave from Magnus securing it.
Yeah, so Blink usage, no RP needed, so they do have that now. If they catch eyes on the Death Prophet, I'm pretty sure Blink into Skewer, they are going to go for it, but instead they're going to rotate up towards top, where the Tidehunter has been kind of baiting, kind of playing some games with Benyez, and, well, suddenly the Terrorblade is going to be vastly outnumbered. He's going to hit with the Gush. I think this is the time to use a Ravage once the team closes in. There's a Ravage, a little bit late, however, going to give him an opportunity to, never mind, he's not going to be able to Sunder. They use RP as well, and hey, look, it's an extra Dazzle. Trying to TP out. Fire Blast is going to cancel that one, and who's going to take this kill? It's going to be Leshrac. I would not have put my money on him, but hey, a kill's a kill. That's 2 free kills going the way of Not Today, and that's just buying more and more space for Ewo, who is not only farming, but he's actively pushing the bottom lane.
Yeah, and nobody's there at all. Evo's just kind of left alone. With the Phantom Assassin blur changes, it's actually really hard to notice if your Phantom Assassin's pushing down a tower. So maybe Union Gaming just haven't checked in a while, and, well, she's gotten the tier 2 tower down in bottom half health, so I suppose it's going to be a pretty big win, and with Mystico's ward as well, Phantom Assassin can feel very comfortable down in bottom.
And realistically, if someone comes down here, like just one person, maybe not Death Prophet, maybe not Terrorblade, but if it's Shaker or Dazzle, then Phantom Assassin can just turn on the aggro. Like right now, Zinder got tagged with the dagger, then the Fire Blast. He's going to have time to shallow grave himself. In the meantime, Benya's wailing into Misko. It's not going to be any kills just yet for either side, but Iwo couldn't think about turning around. Gets a crit on the dagger onto the Terrorblade, but there is a Shaker coming in, plus Death Prophet, who's going to get multicasted, though the Fissure misses onto Iwo. He's going to slip away from there unharmed. And, well, actually, no, the Death Prophet wants more, but I don't think she could get more. Iwo is still running away as Leshrac is going to kill the Elder Titan over towards the mid lane. Iwo is getting chased down really hard by this Death Prophet. Has the haste rune. I suppose this is the correct play, but not until the Tidehunter comes in. Looks like they're going to try to turn around for a Blink Gush. That's actually going to connect with the Stifling Dagger slow, still on the Death Prophet. She has phase and drums, though, so chasing this hero is damn near impossible. But in the meantime, mid, Smash going to go for Jericho. Soku does not have a Split Earth still, but with the Edict, they will be able to take the tower and actually defend bottom as well. Benyaz does not have enough mana for Sunder. He's going to try to Inch-Tread swap, and he will just crack the mana amount, but is that going to really help him? He's going to try to look for the tower hit. It's not going to be enough. Now the crit on the dagger is going to try to turn around for Sunder, but the Phantom Assassin attacks just come way too fast and way too hard. It's once again Terrorblade trading his life for towers, and that I don't think is worth it.
The double crit from Iwo, my goodness, it couldn't have come at a better time. If that second crit didn't come through, I think he would have gotten off the Sunder, but it was just too much damage. Iwo, the dagger crits are really stinging. Even with only level 1 at the time for the coup de grace, it was still enough. Down in bottom, they're going to push. They have the RP available for the Magnus, although Ravage is still cooling down. It's also going to be available very soon. Mihawk doesn't seem too interested, however. Going to spy out the 18-minute rune, but not going to find it. The glyph comes down in this tier 2 tower in bottom, but I'm not sure if Union Gaming are really all that interested in defending. They rotate Zender as well as Angel towards the tower, but I think they're too late. In the RP, they're going to be able to crit down poor Death Prophet. The tier 2 tower is also probably going to fall, despite having the Elder Titans dropping the Spirit. Smash doesn't have a lot of mana to speak of, but the Blink Ravage catches out Angel as well as Zender. They'll focus down Zender, skewer both of them back in together, and it's going to be a double kill for Iwo as Union Gaming just stick around too long with not enough heroes. They need the Earthshaker and Terrorblade if they really want to take that, and honestly, without Exorcism, taking a fight there is very questionable if you're going to get peeled off like that. And with the Edict, they're going to push down tier 2 mid as well.
Rip in peace, Union Gaming. Phantom Assassin, she's, you know, what people call her, a late game hero, and it's 19 minutes into the game. This is pretty much classic mid game, but she is hitting like a late game hero. Like this is, it was level 2 in power, now level 3 in power. She's hitting for about 200 a pop, and well, almost 250 now with the cleave and crits. This is an absolutely disgusting amount of damage that Iwo can put out. Really, the only person he can't kill is the Death Prophet, just because of the amount of damage Death Prophet can return into her. And now Iwo is silenced up. We might even get to see that right now. But he's gonna Phantom Strike over the trees and then throw a dagger. Still, the spirits are gonna chunk Iwo down. Look at the damage. That doesn't seem balanced at all. But Union Gaming, they're gonna keep on chasing for this Phantom Assassin. He's getting a little bit of backup, although Yule Scepter is gonna deny her one escape. Silence is gonna deny her the second. The damage is going to not be enough for the blur. It's gonna dodge both times. And Iwo might make it out. No, this movement speed on Death Prophet just a little bit too high. Iwo does go down, but they do find the Earthshaker in exchange elsewhere. Where did he die? Over towards the mid lane. I just imagined it was a Blink Skewer or something like that. They don't use the rest of the Exorcism because they can't. It just runs out. And this tower looks like it's going to be going down. Masoku, you don't really want to be here because Death Prophet, we just saw, is very, very fast. Masoku's going to be in a lot of trouble. The Gush is going to slow him down. Now the Anchor Smash. Masoku thinking about turning things around with the Edict and Lightning. It's going to be enough to kill off the Death Prophet. Masoku's going to get out of range from the Dazzle as well. The tower is dropped, but over towards mid. You don't expect Mag and Ogre to be split pushers, but they're going for it. This tower, tier 3, is almost going to drop for free. Misko's going to get with the Fissure, though, and his damage is going to be very high from the Terrorblade. That's going to be enough to kill off the Ogre Magi. Zinder getting a little bit of experience from that as well. Smash does get out of there alive, and overall, I think the series of events slightly benefits UG, but still, this is like not today, playing this so recklessly just because they can.
Yeah, more or less. Iwo's item choice is going to be the Skull Basher. I thought he might consider just going for a straight-up BKB, but when you think about it, the magic damage as well as the lockdown coming up from Union Gaming isn't that much. The Fissure from the Earthshaker as well as the Silence from DP would be nice to avoid, but honestly, if you're able to crit everybody down, it doesn't matter. And they're going to make Iwo ridiculous. The Bloodlust is only level 1 coming out from Ogre. He is going to start leveling that up instead of the Ignite, but it's still going to be a long time before we see that maxed. Although the Empower is now completely maxed out on Smash, so the cleave coming out from this Phantom Assassin is going to be ridiculous. With the crit, it's going to be cleaving almost 100%. And if they're able to catch out an RP and Ravage, although we've only seen them on like 2 heroes on average, with both of those spells, if they're able to catch out 3, that's almost instantly a 1 team fight for Not Today.
and we're focusing a lot on the Phantom Assassin's items, stuff like that. But in the meantime, the background heroes, Tidehunter, Blink almost Refresher Orb 20 minutes into the game. Smash is a freaking BKB completed. These kind of non-carry but still core heroes from Not Today are getting just an extraordinarily high amounts of farm. Like, they're on top of the last hit chart, they're on top of the net worth, and they're going to find and catch Jericho. That's an 800 crit 20 minutes into the game. That's without Empower. Holy crap, this Phantom Assassin is just, like, nightmares. That's almost to a 1k crit. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is, and it's not getting any better for Union Gaming. In good news for them, their Terrorblade has decent farm, as does their Death Prophet, but it's still not enough. Benyaz is sitting on 3k gold, which I think is just going to be in the Mantis style, and it will be. But Benyaz needs a lot more, because this high ground push coming out from Not Today is going to come a lot faster than I think they're going to be prepared for. As long as they have their ultimates online, they can be very comfortable in taking engagements. And right now, the safest place for Union Gaming to farm is in the enemy jungle. They're going to ping out the Leshrac down in bottom. I'm not sure if the Death Prophet can solo him. Right now, the Leshrac is pretty darn tanky with a completed Bloodstone if he flies it out to the courier, but still with the Soul Booster. Leshrac is not the squishiest.
He's actually extremely buff. Like, this is a support Leshrac we're talking about, and he has a 22-minute Soul Booster. Hell, in your pub, you'd be happy if your Leshrac had a Soul Booster at this time, but Soul Booster almost Bloodstone. It's pretty insane, and now Ewo's going to clear off a gigantic stack with pretty much 100% cleave. Those Ancients do not last long at all. 2,800 gold, I don't think you go for an Abyssal Blade if you're Phantom Assassin. I think you back off for a little bit of lifesteal and then complete the Abyssal Blade at a later date. But really doesn't matter. Ewo's getting so much time to farm, and he's farming so much faster than the Terrorblade, who's very firmly on the middle of the net worth chart, whereas Phantom Assassin is topping it so very easily.
Yeah, if you capped off the net worth chart at the Terrorblade, the Leshrac looks like the farming core coming up from Not Today. The difference between those two heroes is actually not that significant. And if you're a Leshrac, a Bloodstone is pretty much all that you need in this game. He'll probably decide to get a Shiva's as his next item, but right now, as long as he gets a little bit more armor on his person, maybe in the Vladimirs upgrading that Ring of Basilius, he'll be pretty happy with the state of the game. Right now, it's going to be Roshan Attempt from Not Today, and Union Gaming cannot jump into this pit. They don't have Blink Dagger in the Earthshaker. Well, now they do. They do have a Blink Dagger in the Earthshaker, but even so, they're jumping into Ravage as well as to an RP, and they're completely bottled inside their base. All of their lanes are currently pushing in. It's going to be an Aegis now for the PA. If Ewo was hard to stop previously, she's going to be that much harder to stop now. They blow up a poor Terrorblade illusion, and now I think it's time for Not Today to consider going for a high ground push. They didn't have to commit any of their ultimates in order to go for that.
Yeah, you might as well go for high ground. I mean, you have an RP, you have a Ravage. What could possibly go wrong? Even if Ewo dies, like, a Phantom Assassin with Aegis is the hero you want to have with an Aegis, just because she doesn't lose any power once she respawns, as opposed to someone like a Death Prophet who loses a lot of her power. Or she doesn't have her max power both before and after the Aegis usage, but Phantom Assassin does, especially since she doesn't have a BKB. That's kind of going to be working for her, I suppose, but now that they have double Ravage, this is just disgusting. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to show the graphs. 15k plus in both Golden Experience is pretty good for like a 40-minute game, but this is 25 right now. They're going to look for an opening, and it might be a little bit difficult finding one because UG, they are well aware of the team fight potential from Not Today, but do Not Today care because they're just going to jump right in. Look at Jericho and Zinder both dying almost at the exact same time. Shallow Grave going to shade the Earthshaker for just a little while longer, but I don't think it's going to be for that long. Stifling Dagger kill off. Now going to go for Angel. Gets a bash. Gets the crits. Now the RP is going to deny the Death Prophet luxury of the fountain, skewering her out as well. That's just insult to injury. This game seems it's pretty much over. The Terrorblade split push is not going to do jack because Not Today don't use any Ravage at all. That was just Ewo going in with his fresh Abyssal Blade.
And he still has the Aegis. They didn't even drop him below a quarter of health. Like, it was ridiculous. He doesn't have any lifesteal or any other way to sustain throughout this. That's I don't know. I don't know what to say. This Phantom Assassin can't be stopped by Union Gaming. There's just nothing they can do. Their two supports pretty much got soloed. They were clumped up, which wasn't great to begin with, and the cleave damage pretty much kills both of them simultaneously. Now the Dazzle again, almost two-shotted with no crits from Ewo. The Shallow Grave will delay things, but a Stifling Dagger and a Gush, no, just the Gush from Miak is going to do them in. They're losing structures very quickly.
And Ewo with Blur is more than comfortable just tank the tower because he's not actually taking that much damage from it until he does, and then he loses Aegis. So never mind. But now he's back at full HP, and can they do anything about it? Split Earth is going to connect, as will a Fissure. Ewo is going to get dropped fairly low, down to half, with an Echo Slam as well. They might bring down Ewo. Yes, they will. Ravage a little bit too late, but it will probably clean up everyone else. Here comes the Bloodstone Leshrac. They're going to skewer forward, trying to go for Benyaz. He does not have a Sunder target, and I think the Urn will just kill him off. Meantime, Masoku soloing Angel. This is not supposed to be what your Elder Titan is going to be doing, but he will eventually drop. No, Masoku. I'm watching Masoku because he's just going to dive deep into the enemy fountain, get a TP scroll, and book it. He's going to be fine. Smash and Mihawk, both are going to live. They lose 2 heroes in exchange for 1. Not exactly the cleanest fight for Not Today, but they're like 15k plus ahead. It doesn't matter if they take these slightly unfavorable trades. That was only 1 Ravage also, so they could have potentially just crushed UG, I think, if they were a little bit more clustered.
Yeah, I think at this point, Leshrac should get the Vladimir's offering for the Phantom Assassin, or at the very least, she should be building into lifesteal, but Phantom Assassin wants none of that, as it's going to be something built with Mithril Hammer for the Phantom Assassin. At this point, I can't really say BKB, although I don't think it's mandatory this game. It would still be nice to have. I mean, it's never bad to have a BKB, especially at 10 seconds. If the Earthshaker can't fissure and you don't have to worry about Elder Titan stomps and silences, she can go ham, and I don't know. I think the lifesteal would help her do that a little bit more, but Phantom Assassin's still going to be ridiculous. They're going to need to literally throw themselves into the enemy well if Union Gaming really want a chance of winning these team fights. And not to say that Not Today won't do it. Those last couple of engagements have been fairly sketchy. They still come away with the mid racks, and the map is still theirs to farm. So Not Today are still going to be comfortable, and this Terrorblade is not accessing his late game potential at all. He's going to be going for a Blink Dagger next, which might help him get off a cheeky Sunder, but I don't know. I think it's an item that he can't afford to go for. It's 2,000 gold that's not going to be going towards your Scotty or anything large. At this point, you might even consider starting going for Divine. We have a skewer onto Angel, but they're not able to follow that one up. The Phantom Assassin is nowhere close, and Leshrac doesn't actually decide to pump any mana into it.
This is the second time I see a Terrorblade pick up a Blink Dagger. It didn't work the first time because it was just way too late, and I think this is going to be one of those cases. I mean, he doesn't have any huge dire need for repositioning besides Sunder, and it's not like a Blink Dagger this late is going to help you win team fights, unless you're going to plan on doing something really risky and try to blink Sunder a Phantom Assassin, then trying to burst her down, which is, I suppose, the ultimate of Hail Marys, but it just seems kind of dumb to me. I would rather just have more consistent damage, because right now he's not doing any, but they're going to go in, Abyssal Blade onto Death Prophet. She's going to get graved. That might save her because she has a BKB, and in fact it will, but that's just a show of force. They used nothing for it aside from an Abyssal Stun, and that's going to be up in a minute. And then on top lane, Masoku, with the maxed out Edict, is going to truck this tower. UG, can they make a defense here? They do have a Blink Echo Slam, so Not Today. They have to make sure to not clump up, but they are happy with the tier 3 tower, it seems. Maybe they just want to wait for Roshan, get me up another 4 minutes, or wait for a BKB. Both of those things are worth waiting for.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't see any downsides to waiting. The Terrorblade with this Blink Dagger is going to be able to spoke push a little bit more effectively, but honestly, at this point, he can't do so fast enough to really warrant this blink. He'll be able to play Tinker Dota pretty much, which is what he's doing right now. Just blinking into the trees, having his illusion out, trying to push as fast as possible. But with only the Manta style, other than that Blink Dagger, as well as the Aquila Power Treads, it's just not going to work. He's currently tunneling his way towards the enemy side of the base, looking to cut some creeps. But right now, this kind of play is not going to win you the game.
Yeah, Tinker looks a little bit different from last I saw him. It seems like he just lost all of his potency. I don't know, maybe they need to buff Tinker again. Clearly he's not doing his job right. But Mihawk is still working with a creep wave, and even though Terrorblade may be able to cut one, the rest of the creeps should be enough to deactivate backdoor protection, and then let Not Today push in if they want to. I don't know if they want to. It's going to be still more items that they're going to be building up. Masoku with his BKB in progress. BKB now completed on PA. This is go time for Not Today. I mean, they could just sit back and chill, but why do that when you could go ahead and win? I mean, they have double Ravage if Tide does find the mana to actually double cast that, which I don't think he has right off the bat, but if does anyone else have Arcane Boots?
Okay. Yeah, so what the Tide did is he leveled up his ulti at 16, which is going to make it impossible for him to get off the double Ravage unless somebody else uses Mana Boots.
Well, do you even need a Ravage? Because they just annihilated Dazzle. He had no chance. Meantime, smashed the BKB Shivas, taking quite a bit of damage from the Death Prophet, but she hasn't popped her BKB yet either. She's waiting for Ewo to jump in before she uses BKB, but I don't really know if she's going to have the luxury of that. She is charging forward, getting hit with a Fire Blast. Where's your BKB? I mean, it's a pretty good item. You bought it. I would recommend usage, but instead it's going to be a GG called out. Union Gaming are going to drop game number 1. Not today. They absolutely destroy them.
Absolutely. There's not much else to say. The lane from Union Gaming, they just didn't work. Even the Magnets finds an eventual win. RP's nothing is a victory shout. Ravage number 1. Ravage number 2 not going to come out as he doesn't have enough mana for it, unfortunately. But they'll still be able to get some kills before the end of all of that. Still, it's not today looking incredibly strong. And Union Gaming, they need to change something up. I think they need to set their lanes up a little bit stronger. Like, the defensive playstyle just isn't working out for them.
Yeah, I mean, but then again, your mid lane Death Prophet lost a lane. Like, that's not supposed to happen, and you can't really plan for anything better than that. So they need to just make sure to absolutely crush their lanes, not have matchups that are supposedly good, I think. But this is going to be it for game number 1, guys. Stay tuned for game number 2. We'll be right back with that, and hopefully we'll have no issues, but no promises. Not today, currently holding a 1-0 lead.